we have returned. I hope you're enjoying this reading of Paul Harvey. I'm no Paul Harvey, and I know I stumble every once in a while. No matter how many times I seem to read through it, I seem to stumble. But I'm amazed at the wisdom of this man. So as we conclude this reading, let's go back where he said, we find ourselves, we traded security, and we got chains. And suddenly, with our constitutional guarantees depleted, with our national character eroding away, with our tax laws penalizing those who would dare to prosper, with workers concentrating on how little they can get by with instead of how much they can produce. Suddenly, we looked overhead, and one day to discover that the first to the moon in space was a Russian accomplishment. That free men, dragging their feet, had been outdistanced by slave workers dragging their chains. Think about that. And we were sore afraid because this was perhaps this was a disguise in blessings, he said. Maybe a dramatic accomplishment by this Cold War adversary was necessary to get us off our dead centers and back to work again. If we can revive in ourselves, then in our youth, something of that basic American creed, the horizon has never ever been so limitless. For man stands now on the threshold of its highest adventure of all. His first faltering footsteps into space, 20 years from today, half of the products you will be using in your everyday living aren't even in the dictionary yet. We've got it made if we just keep on keeping on. We've got it made, and if we don't, we will follow those other great nations, those great nation states of history, into the graveyard, the ignominious oblivion. History promises only that is for certain. We will get exactly what we deserve. Where are we today? Here, 55 years later, America. That was written in 1965. We've seen those inventions he talked about. 55 years. He was talking about 20 years. In 1965, you had some computers. Maybe. The great big things that they had to bring in on, where they had to use forklifts to lift them up. But now, everybody has one. In fact, they're dependent on them, and they carry them in their pocket. Nearly everyone does. It's not only a computer, it's a tracker. Big Chief tablets, they've been a long time replaced by the Chromebooks. Your local library can barely compete with ebooks on Amazon. Checkbooks have been replaced with plastic check cards. I'm unfortunately a part of that generation he spoke of. Many who decided they have no need to be responsible for their actions. You know, the old saying, if it feels good, do it generation. The generation of free love, free sex. Well, there ain't nothing free. The same generation that birthed abortion instead of children, claimed it as a right instead of just plain wrong. Many decided living on debt was cool, but decided they owe nothing to the world they live in. Having kids was not as near as much fun as acting like one. And the generation that has had everything and now believes everything should be had. And their kids are even worse. They're even more spoiled, to the point of hating the very nation that gave them every opportunity and see nothing that they have as good. They think God isn't real and government is supreme, and they think government's too big to fail and must take care of their every need and fix their every problem. We're just as messed up as those previous nations that Paul Harvey talked about. And we will fall if we do not change. The demise was always the same. It was from within. And always from greed of the leaders and apathy of the citizens. But there are still a few believers and patriots around. My heart just wants to know, are there enough? Enough of the brave who love liberty and respect life, who believe integrity and loyalty matters, not loyalty to a president or a congressman, but loyalty to an ideal and to a dream, to God, to country, to self, knowing that without something called unalienable right, there is no liberty or happiness to pursue, who still do believe in God, country, and self, and yes, in that order. And there are still men. Are there? Are there still men? Are there any women who would dare today to pledge their life, their fortune, and is there any sacred honor to be pledged for liberty, for God, for country, for self? I believe they are there. I believe they are here. These patriots of now. I have to believe. I watched something recently and I had to write it down. Sometimes things just inspire me. Rudy kind of encouraged me. He said, you need to watch this. I said, why do I need to watch? You need to watch. I said, is it going to inspire me? He goes, yeah. Because people send me videos all day long. I can't watch them all. I love you all. I know that you care about me, but I just can't watch them all. I can't read all the books that come across here. I can't do it all. This was actually a campaign ad for President Donald Trump. But let's put that aside. I'm naming it America. And I'm about to read it to you. Whether you like this man or not, right now he is our leader and our president. He is leading us through one of the most difficult times of our nation. And you should be praying for him. And if you cannot bring yourself to such prayers, shame on you. I don't know who wrote this, but if you have any love for this nation, it should move you. We need to come together now as a people. We have a mission. Some call it a war. Today it's a virus. What will it be tomorrow? If this crisis has done nothing else at this time, Americans should at least all gasp at the reality that we have become dependent on another nation. When we do that, we should never do that, but when we do that, it makes us so vulnerable. So we've become dependent on a nation, on another nation. In this day and time, it's China. For medicines, for jobs, they've took our jobs. For toys, those plastic things we like to play with. Our baby food, our baby powder, our plates, our tableware, our clothes. You, America, were sold out long ago, and now in the midst of this crisis, many are still fighting for the wrong side, China. Our media defends their rights, their hurt feelings, I'm saying, because our president has called it the China virus. Well-being dependent on China is a virus. It's a virus that will destroy a people, a nation, and could bring an economic collapse. But I believe in you, America, and I believe in ingenuity of American scientists and inventors and entrepreneurs and the industries that make the machines. I believe in you. Why? Because I do. My heart is absolutely filled with awe and wonder of how this nation of Americans began, gained independence, and eventually became the largest, richest, and most powerful nation in the world. We are. When we come back, I'm going to share this reading. I named it America. Hang with me, okay? Because you are America. And I want to share this with you. And we will be right back.